Bro, record my keystrokes. Okay, so we're meant to be streaming GV versus 9V today. So this will be the last round robin match. So we can reset the scores. And I need to start my servers. That. Let's see. Alright, there's that and there's that. Bro, can you just record my keystrokes? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, oh my god, it's still building. Come on, build quicker so I can actually use it, man. Nope, not for now. Alright, this should be working now. Alright, there we go. We got that working. What else do I need to get working? Full screen. So I'm just gonna set up my room a bit. Alright. So this will be a final best of 7 of the entire round robin series, and we have determined basically I'm pretty sure it's very clear which teams are going for it or which teams are not going for it anymore. So it's really the who's determining who's the second or the third place. That could really change still. But basically at this stage, HLV, GV, and Feast are trying to fight for the first place, while the rest of the teams are basically confirmed to be at least third place or lower. So for each team low place are 9V and King. Both of those teams are reconfirmed to be out in 5th and 6th place. And on the other hand, it would be I think I forgot which was the last team, but I think it is DTG. That would be going to be find the 5th place regardless of whatever happened today. That's why I believe so. That's what's happening. Yeah, I believe that's what's happening regardless of the results. Because they lost to Feast, they lost to GV. DTG is playing HLV, so if HLV loses today as well, should lose today, then they would have a chance to sort of, I don't know, go one higher maybe. But like no matter, I think regardless of the results today, they would still won't be able to make it to the top 2 matches. So things are not looking amazing for them, but I would say it's pretty proud, especially when you're facing teams like Feast and some and there's like yeah. And also, I goddamn forget to change my titles. It's day 7 today. All right. We're already a bit late, but we managed to ready up regardless. All right. So I can't see a chat, but whatever. We'll be starting Mine Runes, and then Oasis Bombs, and then Black Oval, and then Alpenstadt needs to be a tiebreaker. But yeah, things are looking to reach an all-time high as we reach, well, close to the last games of Clan Wars Asia. And I do expect people to be a bit hyped about getting into the final stages. But for 9v here, I guess they will be trying to get some leftover points if there's any. Try and knock GV out if they can. Because remember, if 9v wins here, GV is gonna get knocked out of top 2 for sure. So they won't be competing for any actual prize money, if I remember correctly. So I'm pretty sure the prize money is only for first or second place. Well, I'm not really sure if there's any for second place, but there should be enough, just enough, depending on how it goes. But we're going in there. 9v brings some funny lineup with 50B and an AMX M454. They also bring double crank and triple E5 alongside that, so that's pretty much an indication that they want to play more towards the B and C side, which I believe that's what they're doing. Looking at how they spread out, how their tanks are moving early on. But looking at GB's lineup, they have a mouse in the lineup. That's really telling that they'll be playing a bit more towards A, but they're also bringing some tanks towards B and C. So they're pretty much all over the place in the map, and that would deny very early firm map control for the side of 9v. So they'll have to either fight for it very strongly, or they have to catch GV off guard with some sort of move. But Intel Rater, yeah, has already taken a bit of flak damage. He put some back to Doha, though. He's taking a bit more damage in here and there, so he might drop a bit lower than he wanted to. His Capola, I don't think it's his Capola. He's getting heated over the place. Yeah, he's just getting heated over a turret. It's not even Capola anymore. So he's gonna go down very soon if nothing happens from GV's side. GV's definitely getting their mouse farmed, but Intel, it's gonna definitely get dropped very soon if nothing happens from here on in. Yeah, this is definitely not the best spot you want it to be in the AX M4. He does go down. Meanwhile, GV's gonna get B cap as well, though 9v will also get a C cap, but they lost a tank, so the cap advantage is gonna go to GV's favor. Hit points gonna go into slightly GV's favor as well, but there's a firm tank advantage for GV's side, as they have 7 as opposed to 6 of 9v. 9v seems to be making a slight counter push back into the tanks of GV, pushing out a bit aggressively. Spectrum taking a bit of attack damage. Blackie's now pushing in sideways in the open. He's taking 1k damage. He's a one-shot now. He goes down. Spectrum is also a one-shot, though. I don't think Navi's going to be able to take him down before Livia goes down, though. Livia is now two-shot. He's going to get very low. He's going to get taken down as well. This is a very nice focus farm from GV's side. 9Vs aren't able to dish out as much damage as GV at the same time period. So even though they now grab one more kill back, there's still one tank down regardless. And their clippers are now going back into a clip reload. Crime Wagons are getting lows on shots as well. So things are definitely not looking the best for 9v. As E5 just bounced one shot, and Tokyo is still alive for so long. He needs to go down, otherwise he will still be a contribution to GV's DPM. EV has to stay safe, otherwise he's the only one shot left. He's gonna stay safe. He does bounce as a mouse shot though, but I think the hit points is a bit too much for 9v to overcome at this stage. 9 Showers is gonna be trying to fight Yakuza and Doha at the same time. E5 here is trying to fight Joker in the T22 1-on-1, though Joker has a definitely point advantage, so he's definitely gonna be able to whittle down E5 any time of the day. Nymphia? Nymphia, yeah. I think it's Nymphia, yeah. But it's now Nymphia 1 against 3, and I don't think he's gonna be able to do much about the game because he's the only tank left. And also GV reaches 1,000 cap points, so that's GV's win as well. So that was pretty nicely done by GV. Though I feel like 9V putting the AMX in for 54 right there, it's a bit of a mistake in my opinion, as that gave GV basically a free tank to clear, and even though they were able to put back some damage back, it was simply not enough. Intel able to do 1.2k, but he's hitting but he's not penning all the shots. Well, he's penning all the shots, but not all the shots did damage. He's doing 1.2. Blackie only did 334. He's his first time getting caught in the open as a E5. But overall, like even though they did alright, it was just them losing an M4 very early on, and then the E5 just got deleted immediately. So that leaves their Crown Wagons, very low DPM tanks, to be scrambling for damage. But on the other hand, GV did very nice. Everybody did pull their own share of damage. So yeah, things are looking very good for GV side of things. But yeah, Intel definitely getting caught a bit in the early games. He's getting penned in the turret, not even in the cupola anymore. So he's definitely I wouldn't say pulling the team down, but his positioning I would say is a bit of a mistake. If he is if the caller meant to do that. Because you aren't really meant to have a tank like that. Having a one tank disadvantage this early, it's not gonna bode well, and especially when you have E5s instantly getting deleted. Yeah, the hit points were 2k, almost 3k at some point, and it just snowballs from there. And it's just a bit sad, honestly, like seeing how things went. It could have easily went better for for 9V any time of the day. If they were able to control the engagements and stuff. It wasn't meant to be, so GV takes the first game, and we're going back to Mine Ruins once again. And this time, 9V is bringing out the Yo. They're still keeping most of the tanks intact. They dropped the AMXs, the 50Bs, and the M4s, but they're bringing IS4s and the Yo. So that's a bit of a change up. Not sure it's gonna change for the good, but hopefully those at least help them a bit more, as they will have no more Yos, no more M4s being caught by heat. But hopefully the Yo is not taking that spot, because it's gonna even die faster, man. Ooh, apparently the spawns were not swapped. I believe in this case we need to exit. Yes, I believe there's an exit. Exit. This is indeed an exit. So things didn't look too well, I guess. Mainly because it's meant to be a spawn swap, whatever happens. But that didn't happen, so lineups got revealed. But you know, it is what it is. So both teams did. I don't think both teams changed their lineup at all. So we'll be going as usual. This time GV taking a pretty heavy lineup towards A B side. They might have an E5 and IS4 going to B hill, but that's not even E5, just IS4. So I feel like 9V at this time around, they will get C control a lot more easier, as they have E5s. Well, one E5 alone going to the C cap without any contesting from GV in this situation. Joker getting spotted. That's definitely meant that 9V will definitely know where GV is going to be playing with. Though Berlin is now capping B without any resistance. If 9 Showers aren't able to get any resets off, he does just get the result just in time So things are looking alright, but Berlin's gonna take a bit of flak damage for doing the 9 shards, also taking 1 hit. Though Berlin is still capping B, so if there's no resets coming in from 9V, Berlin will get B cap for GV, and cap points will go into GV's favor sooner, very soon. So 9V will definitely need to be pushing into this cap disadvantage. It just is a matter of how they're gonna be pushing into it, as GV is actually positioned very aggressively towards almost close to the Crying Wagons as well. So Na'Vi has a lot of ground to cover. They want to push back safely and spot it. So Tokyo and Yakuza will be able to spot most of the tanks coming in. This spawning Lethia should give GV a lot of head warning of what's coming in their way. As this is basically what 9V is about to be doing. If GV does not anticipate this push, then I don't know what to say about this, because that should give you enough of a hint of what's happening or what's about to happen. As 9V is now pushing aggressively, going up. Though GV is not actively spotting this, so they might actually not know how far 9V has progressed. And just by now, I think GV now finally gets what's happening. Though 9 Blackie and Lethia now bumping each other behind. They want to focus Tokyo first. Lethia taking a bit of flak damage. He might want to use his reactive armor, but nobody's using reactive armor in 9V's side. So Tokyo and Yoga and Yurinda will be taking the most of the damage from 9V's side first. Though it's a slight hit point advantage in the side of 9V, as a 9 shower actually goes down before Tokyo goes down. Berlin is also 1 shot right now, so if he goes down as well, things will look very good for 9V to pick up this game, as Yoga is also 1 shot as well. So it's gonna be a 3-for-1 trade if that goes through. So now AV will be finding 1 tank versus 3. Those Spectrum is now being a bit low. Joker's also a bit low in the Vickers. If he gets caught, he would definitely go down very soon. Now 9V's confirming the 3rd cap of the game. If GV's tanks aren't able to survive long enough and get kills, cap points will definitely go into 9V's favor. So it's now 3 tanks versus 5, though there's no more cap points going to GV's favor, as Doha being a flat mouse still not in the fight. Joker's now 1 shot. He's very vulnerable. He does go down, and Doha is still trying to farm damage. That's gonna be way too late, as 9V reaches 1,000 cap points. That was a bit of a brilliant gameplay right there, ignoring the mouse for the entirety of the game. I feel like that basically gave 9V a lot of advantage. But at the same time, GV not putting the mouse, trying to put him close to the fight, that was also a bit of a mistake, as that basically meant all of 9V's force doesn't have to deal the mouse. And look at the damage it did without having to deal the mouse. They penned almost every shot they have and did a lot of damage. And on the other hand, you see a GV side, yes, Doha did actually not even a lot of damage because he was out of the fight most of the time. So that was even those shots that he penned in the late game. That was even a bit of a lie, to be honest, as to what he did the entire game. So he was out of the fight most of the time, and multiple players in GV's side doing very little damage. That's not what you wanted to see in a team game whatsoever. But yeah, like, and also GV exploring that, they should also exploring the tank, exploring 1 E5 at their spawn should at least tell you most of the story about what 9V wants to do. I'm not sure what the mouse has been doing the entire game, because if I were the caller, I would have asked the mouse to at least come closer to potential pushing side for 9V, which is what they're doing right now, because that's really obvious. Like, at least some tanks will come from there. So if you have put a mouse there, you just slow them down from that side, so you can have the tanks focus on the other side. But that's not what they did. So that's basically have the entire match to drop into chaos, and then just let and then 9V just fries in this chaotic situation, because there's simply nobody in GV was able to take advantage of this chaotic situation. So it was 9V's game to that they took basically. So we're going into Port Bay. Or not Port Bay, Oasis Palms. As both teams are tied 1-1. So both teams are readied up. We'll be going into Oasis Palms. Both teams ties 1-1. This time, 9V is bringing the pretty light lineup once again with the triple E5 and triple IS4, while GV still bring a mouse as usual in the form of Doha. T22 Joker and T22 will be definitely spotting out the desert, but he's gonna get outspotted and by Leafia for sure. Though at this close range, both times will spot each other regardless of what happens. So both teams know what the enemy has in the desert and what they don't have in the desert. Though Joker doesn't seem to be able to spot tanks like the other tanks of 9V, so that's gonna be an advantage shot 9V's getting in information as Blackie and Nympia are pushing down to the ditch very deep. Even though they're getting spotted, Joker's likely gonna get trapped, or he's gonna take quite a bit of damage trying to get out of the desert. He's gonna take 2 hits getting out of the desert. He might even take more as he goes out into that open area. Though it's gonna be 1 cap for each team, slightly in the favor of 9V, as Blackie and Nympia spawning up Spectrum. Spectrum's not getting some flak damage as he's trying to escape from this open area. Now that means doing that, they'll leave Joker in a very dire situation, and he's getting pushed by 2 tanks from 9V. Joker is definitely gonna go down. It's a matter of time of how much time he can buy and how many tanks gonna take with him into this deep area. And meanwhile, GV's cap B as well, so it's a free farm section for them for 9V tanks. So that means GV's now having a slight key point advantage, around 1.5k, somewhere around that, as they're all crossing in the open. Spectrum taking a bit more flak damage. 9V's now stuck in a bit of a sticky situation. I think they're a bit too eager to push in, and they always crossed in the open just for 1 tank. It wasn't even needed to be crossing that many tanks in the open, so that basically bought 9V some time and some hit points in the favor of them, as Leafia now comes in behind GV, so guns will definitely be turned, and this is a good timing for 9V to push even deeper into the town, as Yakuza getting a bit distracted, as we see Intel pushing in as well. 9V is splitting all over the place. It's gonna be 2k hit point advantage in favor of GV very soon. Spectrum is now 1 shot. Not sure if anybody's able to take him down. Blackie might be able to take him down. He does get taken down. So now Tokyo should be in next time to get focused. Though those free low health tanks in 9V's side, though that might prove to be an issue for 9V in a later stage of the game. Though they're now slowly crawling back the hit point disadvantage, so things are looking better for 9V. As for GV, they're now leaving a lot of low tanks in 9V's side. They finally killed down AV, but Blackie and the E5 is also low. 9V E5 goes down, but they're still slowly bleeding 9V's tanks into lower health. But at the same time, 9V is now capping B and A, so that means the cap point will go back into 9V's favor very soon if things go the way this is. Hit point advantage now shrunk back to 1.5k for for GV. Though Intel taking B in the open, he might get taken down. Though Yogan gets taken down, the first showers goes down as well. So hit points now back to 1k in the favor of GV. So things are definitely looking better for 9V. But Blackie is the lowest tank out of all, so Doha might want to shoot him more than Intel. Yakuza does go down, so Blackie and Intel will have to survive longer, if survive for a bit if they want to win this game. Now Do has a one shot, 6 hit points. Surely an issue would do it. It's a 1-for-1 trade. Now Berlin has a 1 versus 3. This I don't think he's gonna win this, but it was very close. And 9V almost dropped the ball by pushing too many tanks into the open. They weren't really close to a crossfire either. So things was a bit of awkward moment for 9V as all the tanks getting damaged while GV is still fully intact, but they still able to pull it across the game nonetheless. So that was pretty nice. So yeah, looking at the damage results, Joker and Yoga and Govinda doing quite a bit too little damage. I feel like, doing only less than 1k combined. And meanwhile, even though 9 has similar situation on their side, they have more tanks carrying over 4k. They got 2 tanks doing 4k as opposed to only 1 for for GV, and have multiple tanks doing above 2k as well. Even though that's the same situation for GV as well, but that's really, at this stage, is really about how 9V was able to secure the advantage in terms of ability. So Joker go down very early as opposed to I think it was Levia in the Vickers from 9V side not going until the very end. That basically was the difference for the entire game, as Levia was able to come into GV's backline, create some chaos, and yeah, like that was basically all that was needed. And the information that was gained by Levia in the very early game, that was very important, because what Joker didn't gain was what Levia gained. So Joker wasn't able to spot most of the tanks from 9V side, but Levia was able to tell, because he was poking actively, that there was nobody in GB side coming out to desert. So that prompted Blackie and Nympia to push down very deep, and basically it was a tactical advantage from this point. And Spectrum taking quite a bit of hits while running as well. So that was really advantageous for 9V side. But I feel like 9V was a bit too eager to push in deep, so that basically gave a bit of a doorstep, bit of an opportunity for GV to come back in, but it was in the end not meant to be, as 9V was able to focus fire slightly better than GV, and they're in better positions than GV, so they were able to take down more tanks of GV and sort of claw back the round in this fashion. So 9V takes 2. As opposed to 1 of GV. As we go back into Oasis Palms, this time 9V was 1 point advantage. I'm almost not sure why is this music still playing, but we'll live through it. We'll live through it one way or another. So, this time, 9Vs is bringing 2 and 5B. That's interesting. They also brought a mouse, so that's something they haven't done before. But meanwhile, GV's also brought their entire team onto A side. They're not spawning C anymore. They're not letting 9V take advantage of anything. But this time, Levia is also spawning A. So he's going to spot a lot of GV tanks coming into A side. Even spawning Joker coming into A side. That will tell 9V basically everything they needed, as this seems to be a very early gameplay going down in A side. Yeah, GV is basically going a full-on push. Is better basically whether 9V is able to answer back in this push or not. That would be the entire difference. As Nympia taking a bit of a damage, Mouse also taking a bit of damage, but 9V is a bit too spread out to take advantage of the situation of GV stuck in the open. So GV would take a bit of a cap advantage in this situation. As a Mouse taking a bit of damage, Nimby and the Asphor also taking a bit more damage. Things are definitely not looking well for 9V. Though they have the better farming positioning, so GVs aren't able to push in just yet. So things are definitely gonna come into a bit of a halt for a moment, as both teams figure out their next step of whether they want to push it or not. Though the hit points are starting to tilt into GV's favor, as Nympia taking a bit more damage than he should have. And yeah, even the Mouse is taking a bit more damage than he should have now. At this stage, the trades are definitely going in favor of GV, as there's no answering back from 9V's side. Leafia is now trying to do his tricks once again, trying to annoy the back lines of GV, but this time Joker is still alive, so it's gonna be a very hard task to achieve, as Joker is basically looking behind GV's back lines to make sure that 9V will not be able to push in like that. Though Blackie is now pushing up to support Nympia, so that might tell us that something is up for 9V. They're trying to make some sort of a movement, but they aren't able to make it fully just yet, as Showers is starting to push up as well. Intel might be prone to getting pushed by GV, but at this stage he's providing crossfire for 9V, at least to provide like a supporting structure for 9V to push in. Hit point is now starting to go back into even grounds, as it's around 1k hit points advantage for GV. It's not too much to work with, but it's something for 9V to come back into, though they're now starting to bleed back again. Blackie taking a bit of a damage, so the hit point advantage once again is going back into GV's favor. Again, though Tokyo's now getting caught for a bit in the open, he might take a bit more bleed, but that might not be the case. It does depend on how 9V's gonna approach the situation, as Yogan taking a bit of damage. GV does seem to, 9V's now pushing into a corner, SGV spreading themselves a bit thin. Spectrum is now a 3-shot. Yogan given is now a 2-shot. It would have to be a brilliant focus fire from 9V's side in order to take down tanks at this stage. EV is now going down into 5B. That's unfortunate. As hit point is now around 4k in the advantage of GV, as GV is now making a massive push into Blackie as well. Spectrum goes down, that's 1-for-1 trade, but the mouse is way too low. Yoga goes down to 2-for true trade very soon. Blackie's now also 1-shot as well, so that's going to be 2 times going down in a quick succession for 9V's side, if things goes well for GV. So yeah, that's going to be 4k point advantage in favor of GV, and a massive cap point advantage for GV. So things are definitely not looking good for 9V, as I feel like they gotta lose this matchup, lose this map, this round, regardless of what they do from here, because I feel like they dropped the ball a bit too much by the bleeding before they push. So, and also letting 2 and 5 be take over flak damage at that point, that was a bit of a mistake in my opinion. So now, even though Leafia is still alive, the 2 tanks, Nympia and Leafia, won't be able to do much, as they're now basically just trying to get killed. GV takes the cap win, and yeah, it's 2-2, tied up. So, looking at the scoreboards, 9V this time is 9V's tank not doing all the damage that they required, as 2 tanks, Blackie and AV, doing less than 1k each, and also the players, well, there's a bit shots being dropped here and there, but overall I feel like having your tanks getting bled so early was not beneficial for the later game push, because that meant the 205Bs had to take the front and take all the damage for it, and that basically meant the DPM starting to go down, and yeah, things are not looking very terribly well for 9V. So G was able to come back from that game very easily, because there wasn't really much of a contest from 9V's side, because they were bleeding the entire time. Especially the mouse and the ice fall, they were basically half filled before the push even began, and things just getting worse as they push in. More tanks taking damage, and at some point there was even 4k hit point disadvantage going in favor of GV. So it was not looking good by any shape or form, as there was no answering from 9V, in some of the situations. And yeah, like GV just come back and just stop them in the hit point department. Um, but we're now going into Black Goville. Um, whichever team wins this next round will will be on match point. And also have a little slight peace of mind that they won't be losing until the tiebreaker comes. So yeah, we're now going into Black Goville. It's 2-2 tied. Um, things are looking heated up for sure. Both teams are ready up. They're just readying for waiting for both teams for the game to start. This time, GV seems to have dropped their mouse as well as 9V, so both teams are not bringing a mouse in this game. Though from 9V's lineup, it does look like they want to play more of an AB side of a gameplay, while GV is going instantly full sending C cap. If Leafy was able to spot Doha and Yogain, that might be some flag shots going into them, but it doesn't seem like there's any chance for that happening. So those two will be crossing very, very safely, but most of the tanks from GV are spotted. 3 tanks from 9V getting spotted. That will be a slight cap point advantage going in GV's favor as they're capping C right now already. And 9V doesn't seem to be close enough to A to be able to cap it. That could be probably around a 30 cap points advantage in the favor of, actually probably just 10 and 30 I would say. Go in the favor of GV as 9V just started capping A. Yeah, so that'll be 30, actually even 40, if things look the way it is. So it's 40 cap points, 50 cap points. That's gonna be pretty much a one-tank advantage, going in favor of GV if things goes the way it is. And also 9V taking a bit of hits here and there. That's gonna be not beneficial for 9V as they seems to be extending a bit towards the GV spot. Blackie's now being shot, being tracked. He's basically in the open at Amarak from Yoga and Govinda takes down Blackie. So that's a 4K hit point advantage in the favor of GV. Yeah, that's 4K. That is not how you want to start a game. Start such an important game. But Na'Vi is now in very, very strange situations. So that means things aren't looking well for 9V whatsoever. They're in a very, very dire situation and in a heavy disadvantage very, very early on. So this will snowball very, very quickly for the GB side. So 9V's, though GV now collapsing into the middle, into Nympia in the Ice 4 and Showers in the Crown Wagon. So that might prove to be some sort of opportunity for 9V to come back in, but Showers not getting focused very, very heavily. He's going down. Doesn't seem like 9V's tanks will be here in time to deal of damage. Doesn't seem like 9V's tanks also bring reactive armor though. As Intel's only tank using reactive armor is getting focused. Okay, the other tank also using reactive armor. That's all right. But it does, the hit points now almost double in favor of GV. Yeah, that's I feel like this is GV's game regardless whatever happens from here on in, as that Amarok was proved to be way too much of a thing to overturn. And I feel like Blackie basically made himself a free tank by just running out in the open. So even that was an Amarok, if that wasn't an Amarok, that the result would have been the same, as GV should be able to kill Blackie without issue. So Joker is still alive, is basically Leafy at 1 versus 6. If you can take that Joker, that could be at least some saving grace, but I don't think he will be able to do that, as he's now one shot. He's gonna go down soon. 4 hit points. He does go down. So it's GV on match point. So So, is GV now on match point as, yeah, most of the tank on 9v weren't able to do damage because there simply was no damage to be dealt from GV side of from 9v side of things, as GV were all turtled up, and it was basically Blackie pushing out in the open, getting armor racked, and that was basically the game done. There's nothing 9v would have done in the later stage of the game that could have influenced the outcome whatsoever. It was that simple. It was him getting tracked, getting ammo racked, and this is where the game would have stopped, because you won't be able to come back from a 4k point disadvantage, cap deficit, and positional disadvantage. GB has all the positioning they have into defending any push from 9v. They'll alter up. If 9v was even the only way for 9v to break this curse was if they was pushing from their own spawn instead of pushing into GV spawn, which they didn't, and that was basically game over. There was really not much of a game from that point of in. You can't even make a game out of this one, as it was one side slotted from GV's. It was even 11k versus one tank. There was no way GV was able to lose that game, even if they bounced a few shots here and there. So match point for GV now. It'll be interesting to see how 9v is gonna deal with this, as they have to fend against GV's match point and also win one more if they want to secure this matchup and kick GV out of kick out of contention of the top 2 gameplay. Okay, so it's match point for GV, and we see 9v bringing in E3. That's interesting things to be seeing in this meta, as most of the top teams don't really bring bring TDs anymore, as it's really not a good thing for your hit point pool, and it just, you can't move anywhere in with E3. So it does seem like 9v is going for us early C cap, though GV this time around is going to cap A lot quicker, as they realize that already that's what's going to happen. So 9v is going to be playing with a cap disadvantage to from a get-go, and that really means that their E3 now has to convert into heavy tank and be a pushing force, because there's no way a tank from GV is going to be pushing into this side of the map. Doesn't seem like he's in any rush to go anywhere, but in reality he needs to go somewhere, because there's no way anything is coming into his side of the game, of the map. As we see, GV already all rotated back into their own spawn, and they're ready to push into C cap. So if 9v aren't able to recognize this happening, this is going to be GV's game, as the cap point is now 30 in the favor of GV. So that's at least gonna be one tank around that. So there's really no time for 9v to be fooling around. They seem to be trying to pushing up to A. That would be the perfect opportunity for GV to push into C, and perhaps take 1 or 2 tanks for advantage of it. So it'll be up to Yakuza and GV's team to determine when is the best time to push in. Yakuza bring his double speed boost into trying to push into C cap. That would definitely prompt Leafia to be running out of C. The Berlin and Tokyo is now pushing into B. Showers and the other IS-4 from 9v might want to try to collapse into these 2 tanks. It's a decent opportunity to be taken advantage of. It doesn't seem like that's happening. So GV's gonna be able to get B relatively for free, and GV's also getting C as well. So that's gonna mean it's gonna be cap point advantage still going in the favor of GV going forward. But the IS-4, it's gonna be taking a lot of damage. Tokyo is now 1 shot. Tokyo goes down. It's gonna be 1-for-1 trade very very soon. As As4 goes down from 9v, it's gonna be Spectrum, Berlin, low in health. Yogan also a bit low in health. It depends on which tank 9v wants to focus on. Yogan it is. Yogan is now one shot though. His reactive armor just expired, so one shot's gonna be taking them down. Intel goes down as well. So the 2-for-2 trade, hit point advantage of 9v. Blackie taking focus fire right now. Berlin low. Joker's also a bit low. Spectrum's now 2-shot. He's gonna be taken down very very soon. Though that's Blackie going down first. Nympia taking now a bit of damage. Leafy is gonna be taking some shots in the Spectrum. Spectrum's going down. Yakuza will be low as well. He's gonna be next focus fire of 9v hopefully. Joker's down in the fight as well. They try to take down AV by focus fire. Yakuza now has 2-shot. He's putting it into AV. He's also trying to make a run for it. So AV might be traded for Yakuza if things goes well, and Joker as well. There's a 9. Yep, E3 goes down. So it's gonna be Joker also traded down. Is Yakuza one shot as well. So it's gonna be a 3 versus 3 if GV is able to take down one more tank. They would probably secure the game. Leafia bounces the shot. That might not bode well, though Leafia has a lot of hit points to spare. That wouldn't make much of a difference. Now Shao's now in capping B, while Nympia trying to fend up 1 versus 2. Yeah, 9v Showers and Leafia now. It's going to be attempting to try and win this 2 versus 2. Though they have a lot of hit points, so that shouldn't be much of an issue. As long as Shower doesn't throw away unnecessary hit points. Actually, even doesn't have to do anything. As long as 9v stay alive with their cap point advantage, 9v will win this match and they'll go into a tiebreaker. Though Monaco and Berlin is now pushing the Showers, so Leafy would definitely have to put some shots into either Monaco or Berlin, because yes, he will put into Berlin, Monaco, so that's gonna be 1,000 cap points for 9v, and we're going to a tiebreaker. So, both teams are doing a lot of the work this game around. As we see Berlin doing 4K. On the other side of the things, we also see Nympia doing 4K in the IS4. 2 tanks doing 3K and then 1 tank doing 2 tanks doing 3K in both sides. So at this situation, I feel like it's 9v able to read the rotations a lot better than GV did. So they're able to get out dodge of the C cap before GV pushed in. So even though Yakuza used double speed boost, that was not really meant to be catching anything at any time of the day. So yeah, like they'll bring in E3. That almost cost 9v the game, I would reckon, because in the end I feel like he didn't do much in this side of the things. I think if we look back in the scoreboard later again, he only did well 2.4. That's I would say that's mediocre score for a TD, because if you bring a TD, you would want it to at least bring more of an impact than this. So even though bringing TD almost cost them game, they were able to read the rotation a lot better and instantly bring down 1 tank from GV, and the focus fire actually coming into effect. So meaning that GV's tanks were taking a lot more damage in return for the tanks that 9v were taking damage for. So it was a very close game. I would say a bit too close for comfort, but now we're going to tiebreaker regardless. It will be Alpenstadt. So yeah. So we should be going into tiebreaker real soon, as everybody's readied up. It's just now we're basically waiting for the game to start. Maybe spectators not ready up, I'm not sure, but regardless, we'll be starting very soon. So we're not going to open stat. Tiebreaker for both teams. Both teams bring in mouse. This time Na'Vi still bringing a TD in the form of 268. Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a bit exciting as we once again try to see whether Na'Vi is able to use their TD effectively. I would say it was a bare pass mark for E3 last round. This time it's gonna be a 268, so the 268 have to carry as much as they do. But now GV bring double mouse. This would be a lot of hit point to shoot through for 9V, as 9GV is now starting with around 300 hit point advantage to begin with. Though 9V is now putting into A cap at the same time GV is putting into C, so GV is gonna be able to get a slight cap advantage if 9V decide to stay. No, they're not even staying. So that's gonna be a pretty much of an advantage going to GV's favor, around 40 cap points, I would say. It should be 40 cap points to begin with, but I don't understand why Nympia and Blackie weren't sitting there to cap. Though Blackie's now taking quite a hit, so that might be a mistake coming from 9V's way as they push in very, very deep. I would say almost even without support at the stage. So even though they will spot GV's tanks very, very close, I feel like this could be proven to be a mistake, as Berlin, every tank in GV is now trying to make a counter push into Nympia and Blackie, and it doesn't seem like 9V is able to farm up this push just yet, as 9 Shower is taking a bit of damage as well. But yeah, Berlin is definitely wrapping behind 9V's forces, as Tokyo making a run for it. He's definitely making all the guns in 9V turn, as both teams' tanks are getting shot here and there. There's more tanks here for GV than 9V, and Blackie goes down, so that's gonna be a slight advantage for. That's gonna be pretty much an advantage for GV as a 2k hit point advantage and 2 tank advantage. The Toki is about to go down very, very soon. It's all depending whether AV in this fix it will farm enough damage in this situation. As Shower's now in only a one-shot Crown Wagon, it's gonna be very, very hard for him to farm all damage that he needs to be farming. It's still a 2k advantage for GV, though it's now a 3 tank advantage for GV. As Nympia goes down, Joker just goes down in the Vickers. Leafy's definitely had to start cleaning up a bit of a tank here, as the mouse taking a lot of damage from 9V. Yo guys out a one shot for basically everybody. Tokyo as well. So if AV is able to put the shots into Yo guy, he's gonna go down. Though the traded mouse for it, that's not be a very good trade. Tokyo Spectrum is now very, very low. Leafy is now making a run for it. It's definitely not going to be worth it. He's like 1k for it. Monaco takes him down. I feel like this round is going to be GV's win. As even though Spectrum goes down, I feel like, yeah, 2x8 this time was a fail. He wasn't able to take a lot of hits point out GV's push, as he's now the only tank alive, and he goes down as well. So GV's going to take this match win, and 9V unable to convert into a potential advantage. And yeah, I feel like Blackie and Nympia pushing past the cap was a big, huge mistake. They could have just sat in the cap and get the cap advantage, because they can have 3 tanks capping the cap while GV is only having 1 tank capping the cap. I feel like that was a massive mistake coming to 9V's side once again. And that's sort of reflected in the damage side as well, as we see, I think it was, yeah, Blackie only doing 2 shots of damage, Nympia only doing 2 shots of damage as well. It was, I would say, pretty much a drop of the ball in that case, unable to convert, and I would say the 2x8 wasn't farming enough until the late game. It was only when things started to matter less that the 2x8 started putting out damage, which was already too late, because by then there was so many lot of tanks in GV's side, but they're still alive and kicking, so they were able to put in the DPM while 9V's tanks are getting killed, so the DPM no longer counted. So even though GV has more tanks and lower health, they're still putting out the damage that they need to be putting out. So things are looking amazing for GV. But I would say, yeah, this was a big mistake going past the cap, not sitting in the cap because they sat in the cap, they would force GV to make a move instead of how to themselves going that far, going past the cap, basically giving 9V all the giving GV all the information that they need. That there's a push coming from 9V and there's a 2-tank push, and that was basically all GV needed to know, and that was already enough to entice GV back into the counter push, and 9V wasn't able to capitalize off it. It was not enough. There was simply not enough fire going into the tanks. Yo guy should have been punished right here in the open, but he didn't even take any shots by any other tanks until later on. And then it was instead it was Shao's getting punished. It was the 4-tank here versus 6 tanks of GV's push. I think it was 6. Not too sure. I think it was 6 tanks of GV's push. So no matter how you put it, it's massive GV advantage here. So even adding into 2x8 AV, it was only a 5-tank here, and DPM from Crown Wagon's already depleted. So that's basically a massive drop of DPM once that happened, as it was a 2-tank disadvantage. Tokyo's still alive, Joker's still alive, Yogan's still alive, Spectrum's still alive. There's no tanks being taken down in GV's side. So it was a massive hit point. It was already a tank advantage coming in from GV in that fight. It was just made bigger as 9V wasn't able to convert into any of the kills. Nympia now goes down. There's simply more DPM will go to GV's way than 9V. So Leafy has to pick around for it. Like there's really nothing he can do, as both the Crown Wagons and 2x8 are really not in the fight to take down the 1-shots. So they were still alive, kicking, doing damage, and now Leafy is about to see Leafy team 1k, massive hits. Like that game, I feel like it has already been determined the moment that 3 tanks from 9V was taking down before the GV's tanks start dying. So yeah, that was 2 versus 4. Even though you can take down Tokyo, still 2 versus 3 in a 2 very cripple tank versus 3 very healthy tank, and you're never gonna win that game any time of the day, even if you're 7-star or any other team in the world. There's simply no way. Like that basically sealed your fate if that's what's happening. But yeah, like I feel like that's a bit of a drop of the ball from 9V side, as that's not really meant to be. That's not really how it's meant to be played. So whether the 2x8 wastes any shots or not, like it's really a matter of you're not converting off your team's positioning. So I would say Blackie and Nympia, if they push over, I'll say that's questionable. But I would argue that they should have capped first. But pushing that far ahead and not having enough tank to support you, that's a gigantic mistake, as they're basically you're asking for trouble at that in that situation. So GV see that happening and instantly collapse into it. That basically means no chance for 9V. As simple as that. So yeah, that was, I would say, brilliantly done from GV side. But now we're gonna be finding out which teams are going to be advancing to the next stage, which team's going to be fighting for first, second place, and which team's going to be fighting for third and fourth place. So, it does seem like all 3 teams, Feast, HLV, and GV, were able to win their respective matchup. So now has been escalated into a tiebreaker. Which I believe how it's gonna be done would be in terms of head-to-head wins between HLV, GV, and Feast. So looking into that, Feast were able to convert 4-1 against HLV and 3-4 against GV. While so Feast win 7 out of that head-to-head, HLV winning 5 out of the head-to-head, and G winning 6 out of the head-to-head. So that should be all indicating towards GV and Feast advancing to the next stage, and HLV is trying to fight for the third place. By all means. So yeah, I feel like all things are pointing towards GV and Feast advancing next stage. Not sure what's the final ruling of the team. Not sure what's the final ruling from the officials, but I feel like that's very likely to be determined via head-to-head wins between the three teams, rather than the overall wins from the team. So yeah. So either way, I think that's gonna be it for today. I'm not gonna really stream any match. So that'll be the end of today. And I think the next matches, third place and grand finals, would be on Tuesday. So tomorrow is gonna be a rest day for everybody, but Tuesday is gonna be grand finals and another third place decider. um, for the for the games. So yeah. So yeah, we'll be seeing you on Tuesday, I believe. So until then, take care, and I'll catch you guys next time.